One of the great things about coming to Mid-South Pets is you get to listen to, learn from, and engage with some of the most accomplished Rotarians in the world. Our speaker tonight is from right here in Chattanooga, but he has been on the Rotary stage for quite some time now. In fact, we probably wouldn't be as far as we are and have accomplished as much as we have in eradicating polio without his tireless efforts to raise money and awareness for this great cause. Perhaps even more significant is his leadership of the Rotary world as president of Rotary International in the 2016-17 Rotary year. There's much more about his accomplishments. We could not do it justice here in the small time that we have, but if you look in your program, there's a lot more in his bio that you can review. At this time, it is my honor, it is also my pleasure to present to you past Rotary International President, John Germ.
Thank you. Well, I thought I had friends here till you put me after that show. That's not exactly appropriate, Bobby. Is that why you're leaving the room? You know, it's great to be home. Judy and I got back Monday night from Australia, doing 2 district conferences and some foundation dinners, and it's a long way, but let me tell you, it's great to see the work that Rotary is doing all around the world and the challenges that are facing us in this next year, the future years, about how we're going to improve Rotary, how we're going to expand Rotary. And surprisingly enough, tonight I'm not going to talk about polio. I know you're shocked at that. But I was given a subject to talk about leadership. So, kind of like the old professor that was teaching in college, and he always had this PRIP course that everybody took that said his exam was, let me tell you about the wanderings of Moses. So this one student got in there and he said, I don't have to study, I just know what the exam's going to be. I've already seen the answers. So he went in there and the professor changed the exam. He said, tell me about the Sermon on the Mount. The guy thought a minute and he wrote down and says, who am I, a mere mortal, to talk to you about such a great subject as the Sermon on the Mount? However, let me tell you about the wandering of Moses. Well, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to talk about leadership and some of the future leaders. And we have a table or two sitting here tonight that I'd like for us to recognize because they are the future leaders. They are the ones that have been working here this weekend so far to help make our multi-district pets that is now 14 years old work so well. They are our youth services individuals. We have representatives of Interact or ex-Interactors. So when I call your class, please stand up. RILA, IYE, Rotaractors, and the future presidents of Rotary. So none of you want to be future presidents of Rotary. I can't say as I blame you. But it's a great opportunity. Let's give these young people a great hand. One of them could be the future president of Rotary International. So just stop and think about that, because nobody in this room set out to be that, including myself. It just happens sometime when you just happen to be in the right place at the right time and you've done sufficient work throughout your Rotary career. Welcome. Mid-South Pets. What a wonderful opportunity to get together For 14 years, I've heard, no, I'm sorry, 13, Michael Caruso missed 1 year. And isn't he great? He actually was a district governor.
All-star.
He was a member of the All-Star team. He did a great job. But you know one thing, when you're a past district governor, it don't mean you get to quit, does it, Michael? It means you need to share that knowledge and that leadership experience with everybody else. So all the past district governors stand up. We've got some in here. And they're still devoted to do what we need to do. And Karen was on my board and did a fantastic job for 2 years, handling some very tough situations like rezoning, districting. And those are not easy subjects. She's now going to serve on the Operations Review Committee. So you see, it's important that you exercise your leadership capabilities. And it may be something that you don't even know you have. It's something that you can share with other people. But we've recognized some people, but I want to recognize some other people. I'm not going to talk about the district governors-elect. I'm not going to talk about the district governor nominees. And I know we've got some 1920 district governors sitting in the room. And let me say this, there is no such thing as a district governor nominee designate. Damn it, you're either going to be district governor or you're not. So just say what it is, you know? But I would like for all of the president-elects to please stand. Now, I didn't tell you to sit down. I didn't tell you to sit down. You know, a lot of people think that the president of Rotary International is an important person. A lot of people think that the board of directors are important people. They think that the trustees are important people. They think district governors are important. And while all of those people play important roles, you individuals that are standing are the ones that's going to chart the course of Rotary for this next year. You're the ones that's going to have an effect, not only in your local community, but throughout the world. You may not know what effect you're going to have, but what you do in your local community and what you do internationally through grants, the people you get to meet, the people you're going to work with, will chart the course of history for Rotary for this next year and will ripple out throughout for the next several years. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve. Thank you for your willingness to commit this next year of your life to helping make your community and our world a much better place to live. You have been given an opportunity, but that's all it is. It's an opportunity. And what you do with that opportunity is strictly up to you. So congratulations and welcome to the greatest position that you can ever hold in Rotary, that being a local club president. Thank you. Now, many people are going to talk to you about a year of success. I'm going to tell you that if you want to have a successful year, you're going to have 365 successful days. And those days start now. So I encourage you to accept that challenge. Now, your success is not going to be measured by the number of members that you increase your club by. Your success is not going to be remembered by the meals that you have at your club or the programs that you're going to have at your club, but it's going to be measured by the impact that you have in your community. You're the ones that need to become the leaders and to engage your board and your membership. Don't ever ask someone to do something that you're not willing to do yourself. And to me, that's the first step of a good leader. Your success is going to be measured by whether or not your Rotarians are excited to come to your meetings, whether or not your Rotarians are excited to be involved in their community, and whether or not your Rotarians are willing to come to you and say, I've got this idea. I've got something that we can do. And I know that working together that we can accomplish that. God gave us 2 ears for a reason. To listen, to hear what our members have to say. And it's up to each of us to respond as leaders to what they are telling us they need to do. Heard a story one time that about some some people in Italy, and they decided they were going to Zimbabwe because Zimbabwe was a poor country, didn't have a lot of agriculture. So these farmers didn't understand that, so Rotarians, they went down and they found right near the river this great plot of land, very fertile. So they decided that they would plant some squash and some zucchini and some tomatoes to show these individuals how they could have a garden. But they wanted participation. So they said, we need to get you to help us. None of the people in the village there would help them plant. They wouldn't plow the ground. They wouldn't put the seeds in the ground. They wouldn't do anything. So what did Rotarians do? They decided they'd do it themselves. So they went and prepared the ground, and they did all of that. And lo and behold, here comes these beautiful plants. The zucchini got big. The tomatoes got even bigger than normal. And they were so proud of what they had accomplished. Went to bed, got up the next morning, nothing. The tomatoes were gone, the squash was gone, the zucchini was gone. And so they said to the villagers, well, what happened? What happened? And the villagers said, the hippos came. And they said, the hippos? What do you mean the hippos? They said, well, the river is flooded with hippos, and they eat everything we plant. And they said, well, why didn't you tell us that? He said, why didn't you ask us? So as presidents, let's ask what we need to do in our community. Let's ask what the community needs. Let us not assume, and y'all know the definition of assume, let's not assume that we know what's best in our communities. Let us seize the opportunity that you have. Let's make the most of this year that you can. It starts today. You learned a lot from the trainers that were presented here earlier. What you do with it is strictly up to you. Your success is not going to be measured by any one particular thing. It's going to be measured by what you can do in building your team. And Michelangelo Caruso and several people have heard this before. I totally believe in team effort, because together everyone accomplishes more. But you know, as a president, you're going to have to be a good communicator. So I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story about two battleships that were assigned to a training squadron, and they'd been out to sea for a long period of time, and they were headed back into port. It was foggy, it was rainy, but one of the captains decided that they would stay on the bridge to monitor what was going on. Well, all of a sudden, this captain got a call from the signalman and said, "Sir, there's a light off of the starboard." And he said, "Well, is that light steady or is that light flashing?" He said, "Sir, it's steady." He said, "Wire ahead. Change course 20 degrees. We are on a collision course." Signal came back. "You changed course 20 degrees." He said, "Send. I am a captain. You changed course 20 degrees. Sign came back, said, "I'm a seaman third class. You changed course 20 degrees. He was furious. Can you imagine a captain? We had a Navy guy over here a while ago. That captain said, "You send back. I'm a battleship. Change course 20 degrees. Flash came back. I'm a lighthouse. Be a good communicator. Be sure you get the message out clear to what you expect from your members and the people you're dealing with, regardless of where they're at. Well, we all know that we are an organization of service. We're a family of individuals that are involved in service. Well, what does service really mean? To me, it says that a Rotarian is an individual that does not cross by on the other side of the street. You know, Mark Maloney today said we're an organization of 1.2 million members. We're an organization in 538 districts, in over 200 countries and geographic regions. But that's not what we are. That's not what we are. We're a people organization. We're an organization that's committed to improving the lives of people around the world. And I can tell you from traveling around the world, the poorest of the poor in each of our communities that we represent here are multimillionaires to what we see around the world. So yes, we're an organization of service, but we're an organization that's dedicated to improving the lives of other people. But working together as a club, as a district, or as Rotary International, we can be more effective, more efficient, and more persuasive than any other organization that I know of. Why is it that you think that Bill Gates came to Rotary with $100 million when we didn't even have a campaign? We didn't have a chairman, but he said two things. One, I'll give you that $100 million in November of 2007, and I ask you to do two things. Number one, I want you to spend that $100 million by December the 31st of 2008. Number two, I want you to agree to raise $100 million by June the 30th of 2010. Now, he could have given that money to anybody in the world. So I was in New York with Bill, and I said, why did you give this money to Rotary International? And he said, because Rotary has the passion, Rotary has the stewardship, and Rotary has the leadership to spend that money where it is more appropriate to spend. He was thanking each of you president-elects. You didn't know it. You weren't even in the dream at that time of being president. But he knew that Rotary had the leadership capabilities of going from year to year to year. And while we are changing our organization on an annual basis, we are also continuity, providing that service that he says that need to be done. Well, you've got to be a good communicator, but you've got to be able to solve conflicts also. I'll tell you another story. This story is about a camel merchant. 3 brothers were out in the desert, and they were fighting. And they had swords drawn, and they were just really going after it. And this camel merchant came by and he says, what is your problem? And they said, well, you see, our father just died. And our father had 17 camels. And as the oldest brother, I was to get 1/2. My next brother was to get 1/6. And then my younger brother was to get 1/3. And the only way we can do that, since that's 17, we only have 17 camels, we can't divide those up. So we've either got to kill camels or we got to fight to decide how we're going to divide the camels. Well, the camel merchant looked at him and said, well, wait a minute, I've got a solution for you. Why don't I give you a camel? You will then have 18 camels. Your oldest brother can get 1/2, so he gets 9. The next brother can get 1/3, so he gets 6. And the next brother will get 2 based upon your father's wishes. So 9 plus 6 plus 2 is 17. He said, can I have my camel back? See, to every problem you're going to face as a president-elect, there is a solution. You just have to work to find what that solution is. And you've got to be that team leader that looks out there to work and find the solutions and the conflicts. And if you don't have conflicts within your board, you don't have a good board. If you don't have conflicts in your club, you don't have a strong enough club. Because we all have different ideas, and it's up to you as the president-elect to decide how to mold all those ideas into the best plan to serve your community. You are the team leader. You are the one that's going to make this club very successful. But it also, as a team leader, you have to learn to work with people. You have to learn to share their ideas, because when minds, hearts, and talents are going in the same direction, we can accomplish much more. So let me tell you another story. And this is called The Lesson from the Geese. As each bird flaps its wing, it creates uplift. For the bird following it by flying in a V formation, the flock's flying range is 71% greater than if each bird flies alone. The lesson: people who share a common direction and sense of community can get where they are going quicker and easier because they are taking advantage of each other's thrust. Whenever a goose falls out of the formation, it suddenly feels the drag and resistance of trying to fly alone and quickly gets back in formation to take advantage of the lifting powers of the bird immediately in front. The lesson: if we are as smart as geese, we will stay in formation with those who are headed where we want to go. When the lead goose gets tired, it rotates back into formation, and another goose flies in the talent front position. The lesson? It pays to take turns doing the hard task and sharing leadership. People, as well as geese, are independent with each other. The geese in formation honk from behind to encourage those up front to keep up their speed. The lesson? We need to make sure that our honking from behind is encouraging and something less helpful. I believe this little story about the geese demonstrates just how each of us can learn from our experiences and share leadership with our fellow Rotarians and members of our Interact, our Rotaract, and members of our communities. Because you see, it takes partnerships also to make things happen. But you must be the leader. You must be the one that leads the way and provide that inspiration to your members and into the community. If you want to be a successful president, then you have to be the medic of your club. Motivator, encourager, educator, delegator, innovator, and cheerleader. You heard today to say thank you. Recognize those individuals that are doing a great job, and they will work very hard for you simply because you took the time to do one thing. Thank you. That's the two most important words in the English language. Paul Harris once said, the power of combined effort has no limitation. I can't tell you how to be the president of your club. Each community is different. Each club is different. But we're all similar in the fact that we want to improve the lives of people in our communities and around the world. You've heard a lot of definitions of goals, and you've been talked to about setting goals. Well, what's a goal? My definition of a goal is a dream with a deadline, and there are three types of goals. The kind you make for yourself, the kind someone gives you, and the kind we get caught up in because they belong to someone else. Do goal one. If you do goal one or goal two, you certainly don't get caught up in somebody else's. But your goals have to be SMART goals. They have to be specific. They have to be measurable. They have to be attainable or achievable. They have to be relevant, and they have to be traceable. So I'm going to leave you with the secrets of success. Set your goals and plot your course. Remember, you have the power to choose your direction in all aspects of life. Goals are important because without a goal, we have no direction, and we cannot even begin to plot our course of action. Understand your own abilities. Recognize your unique gifts and strive to maximize their use. Create an environment of achievement. Reward successes. Respect individuality, and recognize problems as opportunities and not problems. Call on others for support and advice. When we combine forces, we multiply our chances of success. Expect to make some sacrifices. The effort we make to achieve our goals magnifies the joy of reaching them. Surround yourself with positive people. Those who share your vision and commitment will energize you to work even harder and to do a better job. But strive for excellence. Work toward the best that is possible within your power. The effort to reach beyond our grasp is what makes success a reality. Now, these may be secrets to success, but the only place I know that success comes before work is in the dictionary. So think about that you're going to have to work hard, play hard, and have a better life. It takes all of us to make Rotary a success. You may say, that I am only one individual. But a former chaplain of the United States Senate once said, I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And that what I can do, I ought to do. And that what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I will do. So if each one of us will do what we can, and we realize that in our club that we have three different types of people. We have those people that watch things happen, and we've all got them in our club. We've got those that wonder what happened. And we got a few of those, don't we? But then we got those that make things happen. As president-elects, identify those people that can make things happen. Put them on your team and realize that if you want something that you've never had, you're going to have to do something that you have never done. Let us all do our part. Let us be the ones that makes things happen. And let us make 19 and 20, I'm sorry, 18, 19. Trying to get ahead of you there, Ron. 18, 19, the best year that Rotary's ever had. Thank you very much.
John, we've got a little gift of our appreciation. We want to thank you for all the work you've done for Rotary, all the work you've done for Mid-South Pets, all the work you've done for the children of the world.
Thank you very much.